Hey guys, I'm Basanta from Smart Tech Guide. In this video, as I promised on the previous video, I'm coming with RCS versus iMessage or RCS versus WhatsApp or any third-party messaging service. It's very brief. If you need further details, just hit me on the comment. I'll be giving you further information, or if needs another video, I'll come up with another video. But this video will be very brief about what is RCS versus what are the difference between RCS and iMessage, difference or similarities basically, and what are the difference or similarities between WhatsApp and RCS message. And remember that WhatsApp is similar to other third-party service like Facebook Messenger, Viber, Line, Signal, and so there are so many tons of third-party applications. I'll show you one picture of that too. Before comparing, let's talk about iMessage because I haven't mentioned that much on the previous video also. So let's talk about little bit about iMessage. It's a texting platform, or it's messaging app inside Apple ecosystem. Basically iPhone, Mac, iPad, Apple Watch, all those device has messaging that's called iMessage, and it doesn't support any of other non-Apple devices, and it has encryption enabled by default, and you can't even turn it off, so that's a really good thing. And it has payment with Apple Pay, and all sort of rich media communication like video, audio message, video call. Video call is through FaceTime, but it's basically a kind of a part of it, and memoji, Animoji, and all sort of things for the communication. And another thing is it's backed by default SMS when the iMessage is not available. For example, you are in iMessage Apple device, but other friends are in non-Apple device that doesn't support iMessage. It still goes through the message from the same application, goes through a regular default SMS channel. So that's good thing. It's similar to RCS from Google. As I mentioned on the previous video, described in the previous video. There are some other third-party apps like Viber, Facebook Messenger, WhatsApp, Line, Signal, so many more, like Allo is from Google, Hangout is from Google, Instagram, Kik, Skype, Snapchat, Twitter. RCS is a protocol, and Google Android Message supports that RCS, Line, Dust. Some of them are into it in this decryption by default. Some of them you can enable it or disable it for your wishes, but some of them does not have into this decryption at all, like Hangout, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, and those doesn't have end-to-end encryption, including RCS protocol. So these are basically a lot of other apps, third-party apps. RCS is the default for Android, coming very soon. Even if the carrier doesn't support, Google is trying to push it through their own server to every Android device. And in next slide I'll be discussing a little bit about difference or similarities of the iMessage. RCS chat or iMessage. Android and all the web browser supports Google's Android messages, has RCS enabled. So that means if you are Android user and you have Apple device, you can still access the RCS message from Apple device using web browser, but to use as a default app, it should be on Android device. while iMessage it's only Apple ecosystem, either Mac, iPad, iPhone, or Apple Watch. um, Rich media, it's basically same across both. It's kind of comparable. Both supports all sort of rich media like emoji, video message, video calling, and all those things. Even typing indicator, delivery, and delivery in notifications and indicators. But Apple iMessage recently added secure payment using their own Apple Pay system. So if you are in some of the countries that you can use Apple Pay, then you are able to send money to your friend using message itself. That's a really cool thing on Apple iMessage. But RCS doesn't have that capability at this point. Maybe it's coming in future, but at this point we don't have. Third point is it's backed by SMS for both of them, so it's similar to iMessage, and both are similar in this case. And another important point comes to the security protocol, like encryption and all that. RCS has transit level encryption, as I mentioned in my previous video. That means transport layer security and IP level security. But Apple iMessage does have end-to-end encryption. That means no one else can see your message except you and the one you are communicating with. So, but in RCS, if government wants to see, or if carrier wants to see your message, they will be able to see, because it's not end-to-end. And both are not third party. It's by default from the original manufacturer, kind of. RCS is from Android, so Google, basically it's from Google, and iMessage is from Apple, so it's default, and you don't have to download third party app, you don't have to create any account or that, like that. Next is sorry, this topic should not be why RCS, it should be comparison of iMessage versus other messaging app. RCS versus other messaging apps. So RCS chat versus WhatsApp. I'm comparing with WhatsApp in this slide, but Viber, Facebook Messenger, Line, whatever I mentioned over here on the end-to-end encryption side, these are similar. Even those Allo, Telegram that can be encrypted are also similar, which cannot be encrypted. Basically similar, but only the part of encryption is different from all those apps. So it can be comparable to all of the third-party apps. That's why I'm just coming with one application, one comparison, but it's pretty much similar than one point on the encryption side. Android supports, RCS supports Android as well as all the web browser, and WhatsApp supports almost any device plus web browser. So that's kind of tie, and both supports rich media communication, picture and video, all kind of emojis and all that. It's tie again. Third point that's really cool on RCS side is you don't have to type in two places if you want to communicate, no matter when you are connected with internet or not. But with WhatsApp, if you are not connected in internet, it won't be delivered, so you have to type in some other different app. That means you need second set of app, and you need to go and type in there to inform someone if you are not connected to internet. But in Google, it's backed by regular Google RCS, it's backed by regular SMS, so if it can't be delivered through RCS, it can be delivered through SMS, just for the text, not for the photo and video part. Encoding, it's similar to iMessage and RCS comparison. WhatsApp and some other third-party app allow end-to-end encryption that's more secure than transit levels encryption. So in this point, WhatsApp win over RCS, and previous point RCS win over WhatsApp. And in the next point, RCS, it's no, you don't need third-party apps, no online accounts. But WhatsApp, you need another application to be downloaded from Apple Store or Google Play, and you need separate online account. So that's plus point on RCS side. And if you compare against other application, it's just different. There may be a little bit different, but most of the thing is like it's encryption wise it's different. So you can compare on that point with RCS. If you are using Instagram for messaging, it's pretty much same as RCS. If you are using Skype, Twitter, Snapchat, Kik, Hangout, it's same as RCS. If you are using any other, then it little bit different. So that's the comparison on the RCS and other messaging app, including iMessage. Furthermore, on this is these comparisons are made on the assumption of widespread acceptance of RCS chat across all the operator and carriers such as T-Mobile, AT&T, and the manufacturers such as Samsung, LG, and Motorola, and much more. And I am somewhat positive on the Google, on that Google will eventually bring RCS enabled app for Apple devices, just like it does bring Google Duo and all those things for Apple device. And note that I'm not paid for any of these things, and I'm not being biased with any of these communication service, one or another. It's just my experience I'm telling you, and good, I'm just mentioning some of the good point and bad point of each of the applications. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and share my channel. Don't forget to watch my future videos, and don't forget to watch my previous video if you haven't watched already. Again, thank you for subscribing and thank you for your support. If you have any questions or comment, please hit me on the comment box. I'll get back to you as soon as possible. So until next video, thank you, have a good day, good night, bye bye.